Tensions rise as Russia intensifies its military actions in Ukraine. Meanwhile, the UN warns of a burgeoning crisis in the Persian Gulf. Today, we explore the most impactful stories shaping our world. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. A hantavirus outbreak has prompted Spain to take urgent action to evacuate a cruise ship that reported multiple cases on board. The virus, which is transmitted by rodents, can lead to severe respiratory illness in humans. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation as passengers return to the U.S. to ensure that the virus does not spread further. Health officials advise that hantavirus is rare but can be fatal in certain cases. This outbreak raises awareness about the importance of public health measures, especially in the context of global travel. As Spain ramps up its response, it highlights the ongoing challenges of managing infectious diseases in crowded environments. Future measures may include enhanced screening procedures for travelers and increased public health campaigns to educate citizens about the risks associated with hantavirus. The situation remains fluid as more information becomes available. The United States is reportedly moving towards indicting Raúl Castro, the former leader of Cuba, as part of a broader strategy to address human rights abuses. This potential indictment marks a significant shift in U.S.-Cuba relations, particularly in light of ongoing discussions about reforms and reconciliation. The move could complicate diplomatic efforts aimed at improving ties between the two nations. Castro's leadership has been marked by allegations of repression and violations of freedoms, which the U.S. has long criticized. A formal indictment would send a strong message regarding accountability for human rights violations. However, it may also provoke backlash from Cuba, potentially escalating tensions. As both nations navigate this complex landscape, the implications for future diplomacy remain uncertain. Observers are closely watching how this situation unfolds. Taiwan is increasingly alarmed by rising threats from China as regional tensions escalate dramatically. Recent aggressive rhetoric from Chinese leaders, coupled with military maneuvers near Taiwan's borders, has prompted the Taiwanese government to take decisive action to enhance its defense capabilities. Historically, Taiwan has faced such pressures, but the current climate feels particularly precarious as China intensifies its claims over the island. In response, Taiwan is not only ramping up military readiness through enhanced training programs, but is also prioritizing the procurement of advanced defense systems. The international community's support for Taiwan is crucial at this juncture, with allies expressing solidarity against China's aggressive posturing. This ongoing situation highlights the fragile balance of power in the Taiwan Strait, with significant implications for regional stability. As Taiwan fortifies its defenses, the likelihood of increased military confrontations looms, making diplomatic efforts essential in the coming months to avert potential conflict. The United Nations has issued a stark warning about a potential crisis brewing in the Persian Gulf, pointing to escalating tensions among regional powers. This alert comes in the wake of ongoing conflicts and military maneuvers that threaten to destabilize an already volatile area. Countries like Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE are embroiled in disputes over territorial waters and valuable resources, particularly oil and gas reserves, which are further complicated by the broader geopolitical landscape involving global superpowers. Analysts emphasize that failure to address these tensions could lead to military confrontations, severely impacting global oil supplies and international security. The ramifications for international relations are profound, as key stakeholders must navigate a web of complex alliances and rivalries that have historical roots. The UN's warning underscores the urgent need for diplomatic engagement to avert escalation into a broader conflict. Moving forward, proactive dialogue and collaborative efforts will be essential to ensuring stability and peace in the Persian Gulf region. Russia has intensified its military operations in Ukraine, launching a series of intense attacks across multiple fronts, particularly in the eastern regions. This escalation follows months of stalled progress, illustrating Russia's ongoing commitment to reclaim territory lost during previous conflicts. Ukrainian forces are bracing for renewed offensives, as reports indicate that Russian troops have been mobilizing in key areas, including the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. The international community is closely monitoring the situation, with calls for a ceasefire growing louder amid concerns over escalating violence. Ukraine's resolve remains strong, as President Zelensky emphasizes the need for continued resistance against Russian aggression and calls for increased military support from allies. The humanitarian impact of the conflict is deepening, with civilians increasingly caught in the crossfire and facing dire conditions. As the situation evolves, the potential for diplomatic resolutions becomes increasingly challenging, with both sides entrenched in their positions. The upcoming weeks will be critical in determining the trajectory of this protracted conflict. In a significant development, Chinese President Xi Jinping has issued a warning to former President Donald Trump regarding U.S. policy towards Taiwan. This warning emerges amidst escalating tensions between the two nations, particularly around military and diplomatic support for Taiwan, a self-governing island that China considers a breakaway province. Xi's remarks underscore Beijing's unwavering stance on its sovereignty claims over Taiwan and its deep-seated discontent with any perceived U.S. support for Taiwanese independence. The exchange highlights the complexities of U.S.-China relations, where economic cooperation is frequently overshadowed by geopolitical conflicts. As both nations grapple with trade issues and military posturing, Trump's response to Xi's warnings may significantly shape U.S. foreign policy in the Asia-Pacific region. The potential for miscalculation remains high, with both leaders balancing national interests against global stability. Moving forward, the international community will closely observe how these interactions will influence future diplomatic engagements, particularly as the U.S. seeks to reaffirm its commitment to allies in the region while managing its relationship with China. Recent talks between U.S. and Chinese officials have highlighted critical issues that define the current state of their relationship. These discussions aim to address long-standing trade tensions, escalating technological competition, and pressing security concerns, particularly regarding Taiwan and the contentious South China Sea. Historically, the U.S.-China relationship has been characterized by both collaboration and rivalry, with economic interdependence often clashing with geopolitical ambitions. The dialogue reflects a recognition of the urgent need for cooperation amidst competition, although significant ideological differences remain. Both nations are seeking to establish a framework for future interactions that can prevent escalation into conflict and foster stability. The outcomes of these talks could influence not only bilateral relations, but also the broader dynamics of international diplomacy across Asia and beyond. As both sides prepare for further discussions, the stakes are high, with potential pathways to collaboration existing alongside the risk of continued tensions. Looking ahead, it will be crucial for both nations to find common ground to ensure a more stable and predictable global landscape. Food insecurity is escalating in the United States, with millions of Americans increasingly reliant on food pantries and assistance programs. Recent reports reveal that economic pressures, particularly inflation and job instability, are significant contributors to this alarming trend. Families are grappling with rising costs for essentials like housing, healthcare, and groceries, leading to a heightened demand for food resources nationwide. In response, community organizations are expanding their services, offering more meals and food distribution events to meet the urgent needs of those affected. The humanitarian impact of this crisis is profound, as individuals and families face heartbreaking choices between purchasing food and paying for other basic necessities. Children are particularly vulnerable, with many going to school hungry, which can hinder their academic performance and overall well-being. Policymakers are increasingly urged to address the root causes of food insecurity through comprehensive economic reforms and targeted support for at-risk populations. As public awareness of this issue grows, the call for decisive action becomes more urgent. Looking ahead, it is essential for lawmakers to prioritize sustainable solutions that ensure access to nutritious food for all Americans, fostering a healthier, more equitable society. A new outbreak of Hantavirus has emerged in Spain, leading to significant health concerns among authorities and the public. This virus, primarily transmitted through rodent droppings and urine, poses serious health risks, including hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, which can result in severe respiratory issues and even death. Health officials are scrambling to contain the outbreak, which has already affected several individuals aboard a cruise ship, prompting urgent screening and monitoring of passengers as they return to the United States. The situation has raised alarms about the potential for widespread transmission, especially in densely populated areas where rodent populations thrive. Spanish authorities are urging citizens to remain vigilant and report any symptoms, emphasizing the importance of avoiding contact with rodents and their habitats. The public's response will be crucial in managing the outbreak effectively, as increased awareness can help limit further infections. As investigations continue, experts are working diligently to understand the full scope of the threat and prevent additional cases. The impact of this outbreak could extend beyond immediate health concerns, potentially affecting tourism and public perception of safety in Spain. Moving forward, enhanced public health measures and community engagement will be essential in controlling the situation and safeguarding public health. In a dramatic escalation of hostilities, Russia has launched intense attacks in Ukraine, signaling a renewed offensive in the ongoing conflict that began in 2014. This surge in military activity has raised concerns among global leaders and heightened tensions in Eastern Europe, a region already fraught with instability. Reports indicate that Russian forces have targeted key strategic locations, such as military installations and supply routes, aiming to reclaim territory and assert dominance in the region. The Ukrainian government has condemned these actions, calling for immediate international support to counter the aggression, which many view as a blatant violation of international law. As civilians continue to bear the brunt of the conflict, the humanitarian crisis deepens, with millions displaced and seeking refuge in safer areas or neighboring countries. The international community is urged to respond decisively, as the situation evolves rapidly and threatens to destabilize not only Ukraine but also surrounding nations. Observers fear that this renewed offensive could lead to broader implications for regional stability and security, including potential military escalations involving NATO. The outlook remains uncertain, with both sides preparing for protracted engagement. Analysts suggest that diplomatic efforts must be intensified to avoid further conflict, emphasizing the need for a comprehensive peace strategy that addresses the root causes of this enduring crisis. Thank you for watching. Which story shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.